animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night.
Alright, so I'm sure most of us grew up playing or watching FNAF. You know, the franchise known for its jump scares and dark, creepy lore and stuff. So the FNAF movie came out, 2 years ago? And compared to the games, well... Alright, hear me out. The animatronics were great and stuff, probably the best part of the film. But as I rewatched, I was thinking, man, this ain't scary. I was expecting to be on the edge of my seat, but nah. This movie just made Freddy and the gang seem chill for the most part. Let me just show you, though, so you get an idea of what I mean. So the story starts with my man's Mike Schmidt. You know, like the guy in the first game, and you get a measly check of $120. Oh! Now Mike is just a guy, well, an unemployed guy, and that isn't because of the recession. No, this guy just can't keep a job to save his life. Whether it be insubordination or just randomly jumping people while on the job, it just doesn't work out for him. He could just stay unemployed for a minute, but obviously he can't because of bills, and oh yeah, he has a little sister he has to take care of since his parents are absent from his life. So he enlists the help of a career counselor named Steve Ragland. And Steve is like, your track record is abysmal, you ain't getting a job like this. Mike is about to leave the room, but then Steve stops him and is like, wait, I have one job that you could possibly do. So this job would be security like his previous job, since it seems that he's good at it, and he would just have to make sure no one is breaking in. It seems reasonable, not too bad, but of course there's a catch. The pay is shit, and the hours are even worse. Man's gonna be working a graveyard shift just to be making $80 or something. So Mike is like, I can't do nights, sorry pal, and he leaves. But Steve gives him his number, just in case he decides to change his mind. So Mike has this nightly routine where he goes home to take some sleeping pills, and then goes to sleep, where he has this recurring dream. This dream always starts the same. He is camping with his mom, dad, and little brother, and they're having fun, looking like the perfect family. But then his brother runs off and is later kidnapped by an unidentifiable man in a vehicle. Mike yells at the man to stop, and he wakes up, and then the cycle repeats. So apparently, he does this because he thinks at some point in the dream, he will find clues as to who took his little brother and stuff, and I understand that. But at the same time, the dream sequence is definitely one of my biggest gripes with the movie. I don't hate it because it helps explain the lore of the game, but I wish it wasn't so frequent. I'll talk more about that later though. Back to the story. So the next day, he has some legal troubles, mainly because of his Aunt Jane. Now, Aunt Jane is a despicable character, mainly because she is trying to seek custody of his little sister. Aunt Jane doesn't care about the kid, but she sure is putting on a show to pretend she does. She just wants the foster child funds she would give for taking custody over Abby. She just wants that bread, basically. And Mike, being a good big brother, does not want that to happen, so he goes home and calls Steve and decides to take the job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And thus now we know why a man named Mike Schmidt would work at a terrible establishment and deal with getting tortured by Freddy and the gang for a mere $120 a week to take care of his little sister. Aww. That's sweet. I like that explanation. But anyway, we get to Freddy's, and yeah, it's pretty run down. Quite the fixer-upper there, but he just needs to guard it, not make it look pretty. And he gets to the office where he'll be watching everything, and this seems pretty hype because it was quite accurate to the games. You got the 6 monitors you would be looking at in the game, posters, the fan, the dark room, the whole shebang. It looks good, and I thought they did a good job with this part. I was so excited for Mike to have a moment like in the games where the animatronics start disappearing and he tries to protect himself throughout the night and stuff, but no, he just goes to sleep. Yeah, he finally lands a job, and his first instinct is to take a nap. And then we're back in the dream again, but something's different. This time there are 5 little kids who show up after his little brother gets kidnapped. He's like, do y'all know where my brother is? I'd really like to know, but then they just run off. So he chases after them, and then he wakes up, and what do you know? It's 6 o'clock and his shift is over. He beat the first level of the game, but he just slept through it. Now, I was rambling about this before, but buckle up, because I'm about to do it again. This is why I didn't like the dream sequence thing in this movie, or should I say, I think they did it too often. This scene could have been a moment to make the audience realize the animatronics are alive, and have them terrorize Mike for a few hours, like in the games. But nah, he gets off easy and gets to sleep through the whole thing. I want to see Bonnie just randomly show up at the doorstep and he has to close the door or something. This is my take though. So meanwhile, he gets home and the babysitter he hired, quotations, because he doesn't really pay her since he's broke at the moment, leaves. And this shows you that nothing is free because that babysitter stayed there for a reason. That's right, she is actually an informant for Aunt Jane and she gives her information so they can form a plan to take out Mike so she can have custody of Abby. Their server comes to them to get their orders, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but the first time I saw the legend Matt Pat in the scene, I was so giddy watching it. I watched this movie 2 years later, and I was still as giddy as the first time I watched it. It truly was a moment of cinema to see him in this film, and especially when he goes,
Say that, but you know, it's just a theory.
But anyway, Aunt Jane is like, damn, I really want that kid. And then the babysitter's boyfriend is like, why don't we just trash the place and get him fired so then you have custody of the kid? And then Jane is like,
That's a great idea. I'm with that.
So meanwhile, Mike is sleeping at Freddys again and he wakes up to see a cop at the door. He opens the door and she is just like, want to make sure you weren't sleeping on the job. And like, yeah, of course not. Not like he's been doing that for 2 nights in a row. So the cop's name is Vanessa, and she's pretty familiar with the place. Vanessa is also a callback to her character in the game FNAF Security Breach. So Vanessa is giving Mike the grand tour, and she shows them the animatronics in all their glory. These animatronics are the best part of the movie for me, and I'm glad that they didn't use CGI for them. It gives them that authenticity, and it really makes them feel alive. Can't believe the same company that made Kermit and Elmo were tasked for making Freddy Fazbear. Imagine these three in a room together. So after that, Vanessa talks about some kids that went missing, and Mike is all like, interesting, thinking this might connect to the disappearance of his brother. So night 2 ends, and he goes home. Once he leaves, the sitter's boyfriend and his gang go in and do what they were tasked to do. They start messing up the place, knocking things over, and hitting things with a baseball bat, really trying to make the 1K that was promised them. Bonnie and Chica did not like that though, so they disappear and go after them. Chica finds the one guy in the kitchen and sticks her cupcake on him. That cupcake was really rocking his shit. I didn't realize that the cupcake is kind of movie original since the cupcake originally was just a prop on your monitor in the game, but I think it's cool they made it an animatronic. It doesn't stick out too much. The other guy sees what's happening to his boy, and he freaks out and he runs into a closet only to be met by Bonnie. Oof, tough luck. Bonnie skewers him and he is no more. The last guy realizes what has happened to his friends and he tries to make a break for the exit only for it to be locked. Is this the only door that should be unlocked? It's the f***ing emergency exit. Why isn't it unlocked? But anyway, this gives Foxy his time to shine and he puts an end to the last guy. Also, just want to throw this fun fact in there if anyone cares, but Foxy is technically the only real animatronic in the movie. Since the other 3 were all actors in a suit, Foxy, given his appearance, had to be an animatronic. It looks cool as hell though. Have to praise the craftsmanship there. So those guys get murked and Mike comes back to the job to see the place is a mess. Oh yeah, his babysitter got killed too in that mess since she wanted to see if her boyfriend was okay. So the place is destroyed and no babysitter. Damn, that sucks. So he had to bring Abby along for his next shift. Then we get a cleaning montage and then he goes back to sleep to look for more clues in his dream. While that is happening though, Abby's like, I want to explore, because that's what kids do. I don't know why Mike thought it was a good idea to go to sleep in an abandoned restaurant while on the job, while your little sister's there too. Can't you do these dream sequences at a more convenient time? So he hears Abby screaming and he gets up and goes to help her, but he sees her chilling with Freddy and the gang. He's about to hit Freddy with a chair. Yeah, like that's going to do anything. But Abby's like, guys, don't, he's chill. And Freddy backs off. He still gives him the death stare though. So then we go to the night 4 and Mike brings his sister again, but this time knowing the context of the animatronics are actually the dead kids that got kidnapped thanks to Abby's drawings. Vanessa shows up too, and then they make a super cool fort and lay under it.
What?
So okay, I get it. They're kids and they built a fort. A very kid thing to do. Hell, I love forts myself. I think that's cool, but it completely just ruined the tone of the film for me. Like, these are not the same guys staring me down and jump scaring me like in the games. And I feel like throughout the games, even though their backstory is sad, they're still inherently evil, right? And even if I let this scene slide, Tell me why immediately after the scene they switch up and try to kill Mike and Abby. Okay, sorry, context. I just kind of jumped into that one there. My bad. So Mike goes back to a shift again at Freddys, or should I say sleeps again. Mans does more sleeping than garden. No wonder why he gets fired from his jobs. So this time in the dream, Freddy, well, his human version, offers Mike a deal. And the deal is that Mike will have this dream with his perfect family again in exchange for his sister. Mike agrees to the deal, but for like 0.2 seconds later, realizing how badly he messed up, and right when he takes it back, the kids are gone. Freddy goes to pick up Abby, and Abby happily goes thinking they're going to have some more fun again. They go by taxi though, and Corey is driving. I just realized I gotta finish his dispatch playthrough. So while this is happening, Mike is going off on Vanessa for not telling him the murderous nature of the animatronics, and Vanessa's like, I'm sorry. But then she drops some crucial information to Mike, which is that William Afton is the one who killed those 5 kids, and that she is the daughter of William Afton. What? No wonder why she knew so much about the place. So Vanessa tells him that the animatronic's weakness is electricity, so she hands him a taser to use against him. While he is rushing back to Freddy's, Chica is leading Abby to her demise, but thankfully, Mike is able to get there in the nick of time to save Abby. He gets caught up, however, by that dumbass cupcake that Chica has, and so he shocks that thing too and runs off to find his sister. While looking though, he sees this giant bunny animatronic come from the shadows, so he tries to taser it, but that doesn't work. Yeah, something is up. Maybe that isn't an animatronic, and it looks like I'm right, cause it turns out that is no other than Steve Raglan. And when I saw this, oh wait, that was the cover up. His real name is William Afton. So William goes to attack Vanessa, but Vanessa shoots him. And of course that doesn't work. His head was right there, man. You know that the suit is probably just straight metal, so of course the bullet didn't go anywhere near him. While William is beating up his daughter, Mike tries to get Abby to redraw the picture on the billboard to show the animatronics that William is the real bad guy and not them. So she gets to doodling and has that thing drawn in less than a minute. The animatronics see this and immediately turn on Afton. William starts yelling insults and telling them how stupid and worthless they are, and don't ask me in what world would berating your enemies would help you escape, but whatever. Chica's cupcake is launched at him, thus activating the spring mechanism in his suit that digs into his body. I thought the scene should have been a bit, I don't know, more disturbing. I can tell they didn't want an R rating in this film, which is fine, but you expect me to believe that this dude is getting impaled by huge metal prongs and not a single drop of blood comes out of him? Come on, be real. So Freddy and the gang drag William away, allowing them to escape. Mike and Abby are enjoying dinner, and Vanessa was in the hospital after that fight with her father, and that is how the film ends. So yeah, overall, I don't really know how I feel about this film. Like, the potential was definitely there with Freddy and stuff, but I just felt they didn't really capture the magic that I've seen in the games. This is my thoughts though. Tell me what you think about it. I would love to know your opinion. If you watched this far, thanks for watching the video. I do a lot of movie recaps like this, so if you want to see more, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Till next time, goodbye.